They called her useless. Not loudly, not officially, just quietly enough that it hurt more. Whispers during drills, side glances during briefings, a name that followed her like a shadow through the training compound. She heard it all. Lieutenant Maya Reeves stood at the edge of the field as the rest of the unit finished another brutal exercise. Mud streaked their uniforms, sweat dripped from helmets. Laughter broke out, sharp, dismissive. "She won't last," someone muttered. "Why is she even here?" Maya said nothing. She never did. The instructors watched from a distance, arms crossed, eyes cold. On paper, Maya's performance was strange. She wasn't the fastest. She didn't dominate hand-to-hand drills. She rarely spoke unless spoken to. But she never failed a single objective. Not once. During training simulations, she noticed things others missed. Patterns, gaps, timing errors. She corrected mistakes before they became disasters, quietly, without credit. That made people uncomfortable. In this place, silence looked like weakness. The sun climbed higher as the unit gathered for a live training exercise, high pressure, multi-layered, designed to break confidence. Radios crackled, orders were barked. Stress was the point. Maya was assigned to the least respected position. Support, observation, no command authority. "Perfect for you," one trainee smirked as he passed her. She adjusted her headset and looked out over the terrain. Then something went wrong. A simulated breach failed. Two teams moved too early. Signals crossed. Confusion spread like fire through dry grass. The instructors didn't stop it. They wanted to see who would break. Maya's eyes narrowed. She saw it instantly. The flaw in the plan, the domino effect already in motion. She keyed her radio once. "Hold," she said calmly. No one listened. The exercise collapsed into chaos. Shouted commands overlapped. Timelines shattered. What was supposed to be controlled failure became real risk. An instructor cursed under his breath. Then a sound cut through the noise. A sharp, unmistakable tone. Not from the training net, from Maya's secured channel. She froze. So did the instructors. Her radio crackled again, this time unmistakably clear. "Lieutenant Reeves, this is the President of the United States." Every head on the field turned. Maya closed her eyes for half a second, then answered, "Yes, sir." The word useless vanished from the air, and nothing would ever be the same again.
The training field had gone completely silent. No shouted orders, no movement. Even the wind seemed to hesitate. The instructors stood frozen, eyes locked on Lieutenant Maya Reeves as she lowered the radio slightly, listening with absolute focus. Her posture didn't change. No shock, no pride, just attention. "Yes, sir," she repeated. The president's voice came through the channel again, calm, measured, unmistakably real. "We don't have much time," he said. "I need confirmation on what you're seeing." Maya glanced across the field. The failed breach, the confused formations, the exposed flank no one else had noticed yet. "It's a cascade failure," she said evenly. "Started with timing drift on Team Bravo. They moved 6 seconds early. That exposed the left corridor." One of the instructors stiffened. The president paused. And if this were real? Maya didn't hesitate. We'd already be losing people. A sharp intake of breath rippled through the command staff listening in. "Can it be recovered?" the president asked. "Yes, sir," Maya replied, "but only if command authority is rerouted." The senior instructor stepped forward instinctively, then stopped. He had no authority here. "Rerouted to whom?" the president asked. Maya swallowed once. "To me," she said. A long silence followed. Across the field, trainees exchanged confused glances. Some laughed nervously, certain this had to be some elaborate test. Then the president spoke again. "Authority granted," he said. "For the next 5 minutes, you have full operational control." The instructors stared in disbelief. Maya's hand tightened on the radio. "Yes, sir." She didn't look at the people who had doubted her. She didn't address the whispers. She didn't defend herself. She acted. "Team Alpha, freeze," she said into the net, voice suddenly carrying weight. "Bravo, fall back 2 meters and hold. Charlie, rotate east now." This time, they listened, because something in her tone had changed. The chaos began to unwind. Movements synchronized. Overlaps disappeared. What had looked like failure started to resemble intention. The senior instructor whispered, "How is she doing this?" Another replied quietly, "She always has." From his secure line, the president watched the live feed. "Lieutenant Reeves," he said, "how did you see it so fast?" Maya's answer was simple. "Because this isn't training, it's preparation." The field fell into perfect alignment, and for the first time, everyone realized they hadn't underestimated her skill. They had underestimated her purpose.
The exercise ended in silence. No cheers. No debrief orders shouted across the field. Just the quiet realization that something far bigger than training had just taken place. Lieutenant Maya Reeves stood where she was, headset still on, eyes forward. Around her, trainees slowly lowered their weapons. Instructors exchanged looks they weren't ready to explain. The senior instructor cleared his throat. "All units, stand down." Maya removed her headset and waited. The instructors approached her now, not with authority, but caution. "Lieutenant," one of them said carefully, "how long have you known about this?" Maya met his eyes. "Since the briefing 3 weeks ago." His brow furrowed. "You never said anything." "You never asked," she replied. Inside the command trailer, a secure screen flickered to life. The president appeared, no longer just a voice, but a presence. His expression was serious, measured. "Lieutenant Reeves," he said, "tell them why you're here." Maya took a breath. Years ago, before this base, before this uniform, she had been part of a classified program. Not frontline combat, not politics, strategic foresight, crisis modeling, pattern prediction under extreme uncertainty. She had predicted failures no one wanted to believe in, supply chain collapses, communication breakdowns, decision paralysis at the highest levels. She wasn't popular. She was accurate. "When real operations fail," Maya said, voice steady, "it's rarely because of lack of strength. It's because of bad assumptions." The instructors listened now. "I was assigned here to observe," she continued, "to see how units react when plans break, who adapts, who panics, who ignores quiet warnings." One instructor shifted uncomfortably. The president nodded. Lieutenant Reeves identified vulnerabilities in 3 major joint exercises before they happened. Today was a confirmation. A heavy realization settled over the field. This wasn't a test for Maya. It was a test for them. "You called her useless," the president said evenly, "because she didn't fit your expectation of strength." No one spoke. Maya felt the weight of every glance now. Not admiration, not apology, something heavier, accountability. "There's a reason I called during training, because when real failure comes, it won't announce itself politely." He looked directly into the camera. "And the person who saves you may not look like your idea of a leader." Maya exhaled slowly. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the field. The trainees who once mocked her now avoided her gaze, not out of shame, but respect they hadn't earned yet. The senior instructor finally spoke. "What happens now?" The president's answer was calm.
"Now," he said, "she trains you." Maya didn't smile. She simply nodded, because the hardest lesson was still ahead.
The next morning, training began earlier than usual. No announcements, no explanations. Lieutenant Maya Reeves stood at the front of a field before sunrise, the air cold and quiet. The same trainees who once laughed at her now formed up in uneasy silence. They didn't know what kind of day this would be, only that it would be different. Maya looked across the line. "Yesterday wasn't a victory," she said calmly. "It was a warning." No one spoke. "In real operations," she continued, "plans fail, strength fails, ego fails. The only thing that survives is adaptation." She turned and activated the simulation. What followed was relentless. Scenarios stacked on top of each other. Incomplete intel, broken comms, conflicting orders. Every comfort was stripped away, every assumption challenged. At first, the unit struggled. They hesitated, they waited for permission, they fell back on habits that no longer worked. Maya let them fail, just long enough to feel it. Then she spoke. "Look," she said quietly, pointing to a pattern forming in the chaos. "It's always there, you just don't want to see it." Slowly, something changed. They stopped trying to impress, stopped trying to dominate. They started listening. To each other, to the environment, to the quiet voice they once ignored. By midday, the same trainees who dismissed her were asking questions, not sarcastically, but seriously. "Why does this work? What did we miss?" Maya answered every one. Not with rank, not with anger, with clarity. The senior instructors watched from a distance, saying nothing. They saw efficiency replace aggression, precision replace noise. By evening, the unit moved as one. When the final scenario ended, the field was silent again. But this time, it wasn't confusion. It was understanding. The senior instructor stepped forward. "Lieutenant Reeves," he said, voice firm, "you've set a new standard here." Maya looked at the unit. "They did," she replied. "I just showed them where to look." The president's words echoed in their minds, though he wasn't there now. Strength doesn't always shout. Leadership doesn't always stand in front. And the person you call useless may be the one holding everything together. As the sun set behind the training compound, the trainees dismissed themselves, slower, quieter, changed. Maya remained where she was, still silent, still observant, still the one they would never underestimate again. And on United War, this story stands as a reminder. True power isn't proven by who speaks the loudest, but by who is trusted when everything falls apart.